So as a hunter comes out from actually, hunting Robbins Butte Wildlife Area, they come to our check station so we can actually see how many birds are harvested within the area on opening day. We've been collecting this data for, decades. So the first thing we do is actually separate out the birds in between mourning doves and white wings, and then we separate out in between adults and juveniles. So this bird here, we're looking for buffy colored tips on the covert feathers that actually identify it as a juvenile bird, like this one here. So this one here is an adult bird, this one's a juvenile, as John is showing those buffy colored tips on the feathers itself. And then the juvenile birds, we actually look for the molt feather. They have 10 primary flight feathers, and they start back here as they actually age. They replace these with permanent feathers, and those are actually molted every year as well. And as we look for those feathers, it'll actually give us an idea of about when that bird was hatched. So we can look back and look at weather events if we're missing a trend date over multiple years of if we had a weather event. But as you can see, this feather right here is the one being molted. So this is a 10, 9, 8, 7, number 6 primary feathers being molted right now. And then we can look on the graph of all the years that we have that and see that this bird is probably roughly around 70 to 90 days old. And then we actually look at that over multiple different years. And then we do the same thing with the white wings. And actually the white wings have this white band across it, different coloration, and this one once again has got these buffy colored tips on the primary feathers, and then that one's actually the one being molted back. So we count once again from 10 backwards and determine what that molt feather is. And we record all this data, and we've been doing, like I said, this data set for decades. It allows us to closely monitor the birds, work with the Fish and Wildlife Service on harvest limits within the flyways, and this is what adjusts the daily bag limits of being 15 with no more than 10 in aggregate of being a white-winged dove. And we do banding efforts as well in July through the mid of August that we actually put bands on doves, and that is also a hunter harvest effort that they call in and check online with band numbers that we actually put on those doves, and it shows once again how many are hunter harvested and what survival and recruitment rate is, across the flyways. It is key in order to help manage, Arizona species, and these, doves actually fly all the way from the Dakotas all the way down to Mexico. So it is very key that hunter participation really aids us in management of wildlife in Arizona.